Okay, so we're just going to go through the 0607 S14 QP21. This is the paper 2, so it's a non-calculator paper, and I'll share the PDF with you afterwards, but we're just going to talk it through, and hopefully I can give you a couple of hints as well as just how to do the answers. So let's just jump straight in. Obviously don't forget your formula sheets there. I put a couple of notes here that I'll talk them through as we go along. So first one, a very common factorization. Hopefully we should know this one here because it's very common. When you've got two squares with a subtraction in the middle, this always factorizes to x plus y, x minus y. This is because if you do x times x, you get x squared, x times negative y, that's a 2 by the way, minus xy, obviously plus the xy, and they cancel down, and then minus the y squared. So we're looking for add them together and subtract them. Now, I showed here, and I'm just not going to go through how to do the multiplication, that you could have done this the long way around, like for example do the 164 times 164, do the long thing, or we could have used our answer from above, x plus y, x minus y, and we could have said, well, think of this as x, think of this as y, so we could have said 164 plus 36, 164 minus 36, running out of space, and we could have subtracted them from each other. So of course 164 plus 36 is 200. 164 minus 36 is, oh, sorry, I stopped talking there for some reason, 128. And then we could have done that multiplication to just one multiplication, and if you do 200 times 128, it gives you, hold on, I've done something wrong here. Yeah, 200 times 128, that gives you the answer you want. It's not 27,400, don't know where that came from. It's actually 25,600. And now that is the correct answer. So I should say 25,600. I added them. Right, next one. Root 12. Root 12 can be 4 times 3. And root 4 is 2, so it's 2 root 3. Now notice that we've got this root 12 here, we've also got it here, so we know we're going to come back to it again later. The next question, I put this known trig fact here because that's something that we should always know. It's something we've got to learn. There's a couple of them that I shared in a table on Teams. So once we know that cos 30 is root 3 over 2, then obviously x is equal to 30 degrees. It only wants it from 0 to 90. We can also get cos of 150 is root 3 over 2, but of course it's not in between 0 and 90. Now the next one, you need to think a little bit about your sine graph. Let's imagine we've got here negative 1 and 1. We go up in our, there's 180, there's 90, there's negative 90, and there's negative 180. We should know that the cos of different things, so we know that the cos of 0, we should know the cos of 1. If you remember, I shared these with you in a little table. If you haven't found that one or downloaded it, I would recommend you do. But we should know that if we have the cos of 0 degrees, that's 1. The cos of 90 degrees is 0. The cos of 180 degrees is negative 1. And then it mirrors on the other side. So we should have a wave that goes something like this. We're looking for negative 12 over 4, but we know from this one here that root 12 is 2 root 3. So cancel down the 2 and the 4, we get 1 over 2, so it becomes negative root 3 over 2, which of course is the opposite of part B. So that means that it's going to be 30 degrees, instead of 30 degrees to the right, so 30 degrees is here, it's going to be 30 degrees to the left. So it's going to be 150 because it's 180 minus 30. And it's going to be the same thing mirrored on the other side. So it's going to be minus 150 and 150 because it's instead of 30 degrees right, which is this one, it's 30 degrees left. And of course, mirrored on the other side. Okay, let's keep it going. Highest common factor in each list. So what I would do is look for the smallest number and think about the factors of this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, and 24. I'd then just go to the next number and say, okay, 56 does not have a factor of 24. Does it have a factor of 12? No. Does it have a factor of 8? Yes. And then I'd say, okay, what about 72? Well, 72 has a factor of 8, so therefore that one must be a factor of all of them. Here, look at each letter individually. So we've got x cubed, x squared, x4, and of course this will go into this twice. It will go into this one once, so therefore x squared, it's just the lowest power. And again, we can see here we've got 4, 5, and 2, so it's just the lowest power. Okay, now this one would be much more straightforward if we didn't have a calculator. I just think of it as 10% times 6. So 10% of 20 is equal to 20 divided by 10, which equals $2. So it's going to be $2 times 6. Oh, read the question wrong. That's not what ignore that. Okay, read the question wrong there, embarrassing. It's okay. It says he sold the chair for, so what I should have done is highlighted that this is, so $20 is equal to the price plus the profit. So therefore $20 is 160%. So find the cost of making the chair. Well, I need to say, well, what is it for 100%? So one way you could do this is you could divide by 1.6, and you could do that manually. So that's one way you could do it. So then you could say, okay, well, I'm going to do 20 divided by, oh, not left enough space to do that, I'll move it over a bit. So we could do it like this. And then we would say, okay, how many 1.6s fit into 2? 1, remainder 0.4. How many 1.6s fit into 0.4? None. Oh, sorry, 2. 40, sorry. Remainder 8. How many 1/16s fit into 80? 5. So we could do it like that. Alternatively, we could have said, well, think about 160. We could divide that into 4, which gives us 40. And we could say $20 divided by 4 is 5. So that means we know that 40% is 5. And then we could say, okay, well, let's divide that by 5. So 8% is equal to $1. So 8 times 12 is 96. To make 8 times a half is 4, so 12.5 is equal to 100. Okay, next one, it says change $200 change £200 into dollars. We use this exchange rate here. We know we're going to do 200 times 1.55. That, if you don't like the decimal, what you could do is say, okay, I'm just going to do 200 times 155. And then we'll do it in cents first of all. So obviously 5 times 0 is 0, 5 times 0 is 0, 5 times 0 is 1. And then add the 0 for the next line, add the 2 zeros here. And again, repeat the same thing. And then finally 1 is going to be 200, and we add those together and we're going to get 310. Now this one is saying go from between $1 and dollars, but obviously you can see that there's no direct comparison. So we know that 9.31 is £1, which is equal to $1.55. So that tells us that this is the conversion rate between $1 and dollars. So if we want to find one of them, if I say, well, divide them both by 1.55, that'll give you $1. It's a terrible dollar symbol. So then you have to do 9.3 divided by 1.55. Now again, I don't particularly like that, so I'm going to make that 93 divided by 15.5, or even 930 divided by 155. And you could do it by subtraction, you could, or so you could say, okay, minus one of them would give you 785, and you keep minusing down, minus, 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 and you would get 6. Another little exam tip you could use is, you know it's going to be a whole number, or close to reasonably easy whole number, so I would have done some estimation and said, well, 900 is equal to 150 times 6. That was my estimation, so I know that 30 is equal to 5 times 6, and I can see that both of those are 6. Okay, next one. 75, root 75, split it up into a square number and a non-square number. We know this is 5 squared. Same thing here, a square number and a non-square number, because this is 3 squared. So that gives you 25 is 5 squared, 9 is 3 squared, 5 minus 3 is 2. Okay, rationalize means we're going to multiply by this number on the bottom, but we need to also cancel it out, so we use the conjugate. So we're going to multiply it by the same thing but positive as the root. So we do the numerator first. We can do the denominator second. So we say 5 times 5 is 25, 5 times root 2, that's that here, minus 5 times root 2, and we can see now the roots cancel out. Root 2 times root 2 is just 2, and then don't forget to simplify. 35 plus 7 root 2 over, and then we just cancel these two out. 25 minus 2 is 23. So it's 35 plus 7 root 2 over 23. You could also, I guess, can you leave it? Let me just check the mark scheme. You can also leave it factorised. 7, 5 plus root 2. But you have to have 23. Okay, the longest question time-wise on the grid, you're going to draw the graph. First thing you need to do when you see a graph like this, if x equals 0 and if y equals 0. So for this one we substitute in. When x is 0 you get y equals 12 minus 0. So y equals 12. So we can plot that, 0, 12. Same thing, when y equals 0, x is going to equal 0 equals 12 minus x. So x is 12. Sorry, 2x. So x is 6, sorry. And then we can join them up in a straight line. Obviously mine, the straight line is not going to be great because I'm not using a ruler, you will be. Same thing here, x equals 0, y is going to equal 9, and y is equal to 0, x is going to be 12, so you're going to have 12 and 9. Join in a straight line. And finally, x is 1 is a vertical line going through 1, something like this. I'm labelling them for you, you don't need to label them. So that's our drawing. Then it says x is greater than or equal to 1, so that means it's going to be to the right of the line, so it's going to be this way. It says, next one, y is less than, so it's going to be under, as in less than. It's going to be under this line. And finally, it's greater than for the last one, which means it's going to be above, so it's going to be above this line. So I want everything below the red line, above the blue line, and right of the black line. So that's going to be this section here, because we can see it's below the red, right of the black, and above the blue. And that is region R. Find the minimum value of x plus y in the region R. So again, we can plot the line x plus y. Well, that means we need the lowest value of x and the lowest value of y, which is essentially going to be the bottom of the graph. Well, there's going to be 3 options, isn't there, really, when you think about it? There's either going to be one of these 3. It's not going to be this one, that's going to be the highest. It's not going to be that one, so we're going to ignore that one. It's probably going to be one of these 2, it's probably going to be this one here. So you find the intersection of these 2 lines. If you've drawn the graph a little bit more accurately, I think you would have got a root 2. Let me just check that. So you could have solved this. 12 minus 2x is y, so you could have substituted that in. So you could have said 48 minus 8x plus 3x equals 36. So 48 minus 5x is equal to 36. So negative 5x is equal to negative 12, so x is equal to 2.4, and that's what you should have got on the graph, yeah. So x is 2.4. Now, I can see straight away that's not going to be a good one because it's going to give me quite a high value of x, so I'm going to check this one here. But this one here, x is 1, y is going to be, we'll substitute it in, it's going to be where it intersects 4y plus 3x. If y is 1, it's going to be 4 plus 3x is 36, so x is equal to 36. 32, sorry, over 3. So x is going to be 32 over 3, 32 over 4 even, sorry. What am I doing? Substituting y, not x. It's going to be 4y is equal to 33, so y is equal to 33 over 4, which is equal to 8 1/4, so 8.25. So x plus y is going to be 1 plus 8.25, which is 9.25. Find the coordinates of the point corresponding to this minimum value. Well, it's just going to be the same thing. It's going to be x is 1 and y is 8.25. It's this point here. Okay. Most important thing of this question, it's not replaced, which means you've got a dependent or conditional probability. So 3 out of 10, let's do them color coded actually. So there are 7 out of 10 reds. When you remove one, there's 6 out of 9. I haven't got a green pen. 3 out of 10, 2 left, but there's still 7 out of 9, and here there's still 3 out of 9. I can work out each probability. So for example, red is equal to 7 over 10 times 6 over 9. Red green is equal to 7 over 10 times 3 over 9. Green red is equal to 3 over 10 times 7 over 9. And finally, green green is equal to 3 over 10 times 2 over 9. First one it wants, probability of red red, which we can see is this one here. So it's going to be 7 times 6 over 10 times 9, which is 42 over 90. Or we can simplify that by dividing by 6, and we get 7 over 15. Now similarly, the next one, it says at least one disc is red, so that's going to be red red, red green, and green red. It's not going to be green green. So what I would do is say, well, I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to say it's not green green, so I'm going to do 1 minus green green, and everything left over must be what I want. Green green, you can see, is this one here. So it's going to be 3 times 2 over 10 times 9. It's going to be 1 minus 6 over 90, which is going to be 84 over 90. Or we can simplify that down to 14 over 15. Okay, next one. This is 120 cars. We can see that these two are not accounted for. So first thing we need to do is there's 120. Let's add up what we've got so far. So we say 17 plus 20 plus 24 plus 28 plus 17, and this gives you 106, which means that these two together, the 2x must equal 120 minus 106, so it's the 14 you've got left over, and if 2x equals 14, then x equals 7. Then it says white cars are here. 24 white cars out of 120, 24 over 120, but it says lowest terms, so we need to simplify. So we say, well, you could do it a long way, you could just divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2. Or you could just divide it by 24. No, you couldn't have, you divide by 8. But that still doesn't get you to lowest terms, because you can still divide by 3. Okay, last one. 2 different ways you can do this. First thing you need to know is you need to cross multiply. So we can keep it in brackets, that's what I'd recommend. So 4x plus 3 times 4x plus 3 on one side, and then is equal to 7 times 7 on the other. Keep it in brackets. We could simplify that to squared, or we can leave it as 2 brackets. The reason I'm putting squared is because you can square root both sides. Now remember, this can be positive or negative because it's a square root. So then you'd say, well, 4x plus 3 is equal to 7. 4x is equal to 4, x is equal to 1. Or 4x plus 3 is equal to minus 7. 4x is equal to minus 10. X is equal to minus 2.5. Other way you could have done it is using your expansion. So you could have said the same thing, but we could have said 4x plus 3. So same first step. But then you could have expanded it out to get 16x squared plus 24x plus 9 is equal to 49. So 16x squared plus 24x is minus 40 equals to 0. Then we could have factorized. I would have said, okay, 40 can be 10 and 4. So I know it's going to be a 4 and a 10. Minus plus 16x is going to be the 4x, and then I would have solved them. So I would have done this one to here, and then this one would have come to here. There you go. That is your paper 2. Ask me any questions after you watch this video if you have them.